It's our creek, it's our community's creek. So this is our life here, and this is where we get our water. If there is a problem with a crude oil or dilbit pipeline, and it literally would never be the same. I'm not an environmentalist, I'd say I'm a realist.
For Matt Parfit, that's an important distinction. In fact, he tells me he likes oil. He just doesn't want to spill to ruin North Bay. And so, like it or not, he's on the front lines of a pipeline project called Energy East. Time for a pipeline primer. First, Keystone XL. It would pump oil south from Alberta to Texas, but just last week, yet again, the U.S. Senate voted against it, so Keystone remains in limbo. Northern Gateway, the plan to send oil west through British Columbia, is also stalled, and so the latest plan is Energy East. Bigger than the other two, it would carry 1.1 million barrels a day from Alberta east to Quebec and the Maritimes.
And a piece of the pipeline runs right here, right below me, down there, up there, all across northern Ontario, which is where I am. I've come here to find out from people how they feel about having oil running through their land.
Now we got to see how difficult it's going to be to get in here. Just ahead of us over the hill here.
Let's go.
Matt Parfit is determined to show me the spot where the pipeline crosses the creek. And that's the thing about Energy East. Much of the pipe, 3,000 kilometers in fact, is already in the ground. Right now it carries natural gas, but TransCanada's plan is to use the same pipe to carry oil.
We have to be able to extract resources. I mean, aside of that, if we go back and live like cavemen, I don't think that's going to happen.
And Matt understands that more than most. He worked in mining for 25 years. So with development now in his own backyard, he tells me he knew exactly what questions to ask. He also says TransCanada didn't have many answers.
Now I'm on the other side of the table asking these questions, and I feel like I'm being stonewalled and ignored, and that's not a good feeling. I've been sort of blown off by TransCanada.
I mean, what's it like to say that?
It makes you not trust them.
Trust is important because people around here remember that the pipeline has exploded. Twice, in fact, up the highway near the town of Englehart.
At about 7:20 this morning, the pipeline exploded, shooting flames as high as 300 meters up into the air. The heat was so intense that one
the
family
10th
had
break in the
minor
line in
burns.
Ontario since 1958.
Well, originally the pipeline exploded from here and blew out everything right across this road here and down here about 300 meters, 300-400
All the way to that house?
All the way to that house in the field here.
Wow.
Firefighter Tom Henderson was here that day in 1979 when this entire field burned.
The pipe was twisted and turned and along this entryway, and the fire was shooting out of this end here where the gas was coming from.
Tom's now the fire chief in the area. He tells me he was also at the pipeline explosion just up the road in 2009.
Are you ever afraid just walking around or driving around across the pipeline? Does that worry you ever?
No, it doesn't worry me.
Yeah?
It's you don't even think about it actually, as far as pipeline. It's I guess it's occurred and it's going to occur again probably, and those are just the kinds of things that happen.
What do you mean it's going to occur again?
Well, you're probably going to get another one someplace. I mean, it'll happen somewhere across Canada. As long as TransCanada and Energy East Pipeline put the proper safety things in place and give us the appropriate training, I don't have a problem with it at all.
See, I was surprised. I thought a guy like you who's seen this pipeline explode twice will be dead against putting oil through here, since you know stuff's going to go wrong.
Yeah, but they're going to plan against it. I mean, they're going to have the appropriate gear and equipment in place so that if that does occur, then we should be able to respond to it appropriately.
It's the potential for things to go wrong that scares people in North Bay. And you can see why. A leak in a pipeline carrying oil under Trout Lake would damage the drinking water for 54,000 people.
Threatened?
Among them, a pair of United Church ministers who want to stop Energy East. Meet Reverend Elizabeth Fraser.
It's not okay to wreck the world or to be part of any plan that does that. And that's what I understand this plan to be.
Reverend Jane Howe has taken her fight to the pulpit, and what she's discovered is not everyone shares her point of view.
It's a bit nerve-wracking, actually, because I know that there are people out there, some of them probably work for TransCanada, and this is their bread and butter.
Around here, the pipeline isn't just about keeping old jobs, it's about new ones. There are estimates that Energy East will create as many as 10,000 jobs across the country. North Bay could use its share. And so you'd think Energy East would be music to the ears of the people at the local employment office.
Right.
Chris has been unemployed for 2 years.
So what's it do to you to look for work for that long?
Oh, it drags you down. Right now, I'm delivering papers for a living. I went from $30 an hour down to working my butt off for $30 a week just to put food on the table. It drives you nuts.
Would you be interested in one of those Energy East pipeline jobs?
Right now, yeah, I'd probably do it just because there's absolutely nothing else out there for me to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something I'd feel good about, but the family's got to eat, right? I'd just hate to be one of the guys on the list if something were to go wrong. You know what I mean?
It's strange, but the one thing everyone seems to agree on is that something will go wrong with the pipeline, somewhere, at some point. Will it happen in North Bay?
I think they're talking a 40-year life for this pipeline, so you know that's a lot of minutes and a lot of days that something could happen. I am going to do what I can to make sure they get it right. I won't roll over, but I may not win the battle because it's bigger than I am.
With our constant need for oil, the question might be, is it bigger than all of us? Nick Purdon, CBC News, North Bay, Ontario.